Hey, gang, give me a minute while I'm letting some Instagram software catch up. 99.1 WDJY, America One Radio, Yerg's Radio, Rainbow Radio, and the rest of the Mastiff Media Network. We can go over to video there. There we go. And let's see if we're caught up on. There we are. Instagram's happening. We'll go live there also. Welcome to everybody on Instagram. And Chatter seems to not be working. And so I'm wondering if the new episode is out, or not the new episode, but what am I thinking about? The new version might be out. I don't know. I'm not saying that it is. I'm just saying that for the second day in a row, I was not able to connect with regards to getting on my phone and subsequently then getting on via the desktop and launching the studio version and so on and so forth. So I'll work on that this afternoon in addition to a long list of other things. Michael Katz, shout out to everybody at flowsend.ai. We're trying to re-up our agreement with them, and worth it. Like I said, worth every penny. And I believe that. But I've been just so busy, I haven't replied to them, and I meant to do that yesterday. Let's also get moving on. Discord. You can find us. Yerger Group is the name of our server. Yerger. I think you all know that by now. You can also, until we get our websites back up, you can also find my Facebook page. If you've got video, it's at Ross Yerger, like you see on the screen right there. Right there. That's my page. You can go there. And there is a link to everywhere where you can get. That was the affiliates. I just checked that. Well, you can still watch us there. The player that we have through SecureNet Systems is there. And why am I not? Screens, that one. Go live. Boom. All right. The player that we use through SecureNet Systems is there. And you can just click on that and watch us. If you're driving, turn the where did my dogs go? Oh. If you're driving, you can turn the phone around so you can't see the screen. Be safe. What am I doing? I'm turning this on vibrate. Sounds and haptics, silent mode. There we go. All right. Trump Diddy Dump is at it still. I would say at it again, but you know, every Thursday morning, and if you want, I'll put the link to this in the show notes today. Every Thursday morning, I am in a group for podcasters, creators, and makers, PCM. And most of whom are Canadian, because our host is Canadian. He does a great job. And we were talking about Canada being the 51st state. And it's just so frustrating to have good folks like these people really thinking, wow, this guy's serious. Just how big of an asshat is he? And how big are the people of an asshat that voted for him? And I tried to get a word. They know, I don't know if they try to kind of keep me out of their political discussions because they know that's my show. But I actually really couldn't get a word in edgewise. I felt like I was with Matt and Blake, who will be in tomorrow. But my cameras have been fading out again. And when it does that, for those of you with the video, you see the word Elgato come across the screen. That's who does the video card. And I can't help but wonder if, because the card is still displaying that, like it's not receiving a feed, that it's something with the cables. Anyway, yeah, it's just so frustrating. And David Beckmeyer, who is on Yerkes Radio, is also in this group. And one of the things he pointed out, something that he's pointed out before, Blake and Matt have said it. We've said it on Fridays. I think that Philip from Wednesday's Translating Trump, yesterday there were some, I got to give him credit. He's finally realizing that yesterday that there are some things that are head scratchers within Trump 1 or Trump 2.0. And I don't think they should have been something that you can continue with. Meaning that when you are the orchestrator of January 6th, and I'm not talking about 3 days ago, I'm talking about 3 years ago, that should have been a deal breaker for eternity. And sadly, it wasn't. Crazy that it wasn't. And here we are, still trying to figure out like what this guy's going to do with almost literally, and I don't like to use that word without literally appropriately using it, but he's almost 100% has none of his first administration. 40 out of 44 previous cabinet members refused to endorse him in 2024, to include his former vice president. Shouldn't that be a clue? But no, as David said, it's not the policy, it's the message. And in fact, that's actually going to be today's morning motivation. And hopefully, we will have all learned a valuable lesson from when there is just a blanket acceptance of the message. There we go. Steve Jobs has said, and I got to find this one. I don't know. I'm just going to go back to number one and no. I'm going through like the 12 different here it is. And this is what Donald Trump did. We'll do our morning motivation right now, because this is what he did. And so let me share my screen for those of you watching. But morning motivation is what we do. I take my dog's chewing on a rope. I take a statement from some celebrity, And one that has affected my life on some level. And today's effect is not what we were expecting. But rename it. I always also rename it right away so that when I rename it, I put the date in 25/01/09. Today is Jimmy Carter's service, by the way. And that way, when I go to use this again, if I go to use this tomorrow, I'll say, oh, I just used it yesterday. Probably shouldn't do that. But that way I know to spread it out some. Master the topic, the message, and the delivery. And he's seen here with one of the original iPhones. And again, this is Steve Jobs, the late Steve Jobs of Apple. And that's what he did. That's what he was amazing at. He didn't do the development. And I get into arguments with the guys on Friday about this all the time in the differences between Steve Jobs and Elon Musk. Elon Musk was the money. Steve Jobs was in part a lot of the money, but he was also the idea. He was the inspiration. He had some of the tech ability, at least the understanding and the humility for as much of an a-hole as he might have been during his living years. His later years when, he kind of realized there's a lot of people that don't like him, and one of which was his daughter, among other people. And then he gets cancer, and he's like, if I'm going to leave a positive legacy, I might need some people helping me to maintain that after I'm gone. Which, I think at least on some level he did. Anyway, master the topic, the message, and the delivery. That is really the biggest thing that Trump did, isn't it? Going on Joe Rogan. The message and the delivery. He never really, like Meatloaf says, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. He never mastered the topic. This was never about policy. And the whole campaign was never about policy. If it was, he wouldn't have won. Oh, get ready for the price of gas to drop. Well, if you know how to spell Google, or knew that it was already a part of the browser that you're using, probably, or any browser, you just type a question into and it gives you an answer. This is literally, computers are now literally the homework machine. Google that book. I'll see if I can put that into. That was a book we read as kids in grade school. And the lesson of it was when these kids created this homework machine. Come on, there we go. These kids created a homework machine that did their homework for them. What the teacher then went and taught them was, that was a great thing you created. Who programmed that? And they're like, well, we did. So the teacher was like, so you did your homework anyway. And these kids were all bummed out because they're like, yeah, I guess we did. But yeah, so computers are now literally like the homework machine. You just type a question in and it gives you the answer. And now I gotta try to go back to Steve Jobs here. You just type a question in and it gives you an answer. And nobody does that. They just believe what they hear or see or watch or whatever the platform from Fox News or MSNBC. There's me being balanced. And to be clear about that, I'm as least amount of a fan as Rachel Maddow as I am Sean Hannity for that reason. I'm sure she's a nice lady. I'm not so sure about Sean Hannity being a nice guy. But they take their direction. They take their slant and bend it. It's not a slant. It is a veer off directly towards the right or the left. And that's what Trump used. There was a gentleman in our 8 o'clock meeting for PCM today from India, or of Indian ancestry, and talked about how the far right government is in India is doing the same thing that Trump is doing by implementing independent media like us, like me, like Ben Shapiro, like Joe Rogan, like Brian Tyler Cohen. But they utilize the ones that already have their slant, the right, the left, etc., which is why I still strongly believe podcasters, radio presenters, hosts, whatever, streamers, like what we're doing, that provide an actual balanced approach, will be the way of the future. And maybe not me, but somebody like me. It's got a bigger financial backing. I told the group today that was my goal for 2025, was to better monetize and finally get the email that my agent has been up my ass about. But that's what Trump did. He mastered at least the message and the delivery. It was lies. And that's why I'm saying, if you would have used Google, that's my quote from over a year ago that I need to revamp. You no longer have to be able to spell Google to be able to use it. My son had no idea what I was talking about. He said, "What do you mean? Spell Google." And I'm like, imagine this. You have to sit down at your keyboard or on your phone if you've got one that has that capability. Because 20 years ago, not everybody had a smartphone. The flips were still flipping. Flip phones, kids, and look it up. But to search for something on the internet, your search engine, the device, the software in your device that does that for you, was not built into your web browser. First of all, you had to open your web browser. If you have an iPhone, like Steve is holding there, you open Safari. And in the web address bar, for the URL, you typed in google.com. Do you now see the issue? If you do not know how to spell Google, you're not going to Google anything. So maybe somebody bookmarked it for you. Great. You just illustrated my point in that there's absolutely no excuse for the ignorance. 11:22:33. You know, I've got a clock in my face right here, and it was 11:22 and 33 seconds. It's going to be a good day. It's going to be another good day. I should use that. Relive the Paul Harvey thing when he left. He said, "Good day." Think about that. So you no longer have to be able to spell Google to be able to use it. And my son had no idea until I explained that to him, that you had to open the browser. Then you had to type in google.com. Now, finally, your third thing that you're doing, you're finally starting to ask the question or search for the information that you were looking for. When I had Yerg's, no, not Yerg's, YergerTech, there was a small company my brother and I kind of contemplated starting and never got it off the ground because for me, the Secret Service shut me down. They said, no, you can't do it. But when I had YergerTech, it's nothing more than a Facebook page. We learned that for an app, and this is in a time, 10, 15 years ago, app development was the cool thing to get into. We learned that an app, if the user did not get to or find what they wanted or were looking for within 3 clicks, they were out. They would not use the app anymore. So there you are with an old desktop, because we didn't have iPads yet 20 years ago. I had one of the first iPads in DC, by the way. Because of YergerTech, I had a business account with Apple, still do. And so when they were launched, there was a line outside the Apple store. The one in Pentagon City. I was in and out with my iPad before the store was even open. So that was kind of cool. And that was like the first iPads when they were kind of like little bubble shaped things almost. Now they're flatter and round corners and that's it. But everything was round. It was, I think it was more comfortable when it was a little bit bigger. I'm not going to lie. But everything is about thin now. We're back to, remember when cell phones were bricks? And literally there was a brick. You actually had to carry the phone part in a bag. And there was a receiver that, a big thing that, like the one on the wall at home. Remember when we had phones on the wall at home? We're side of the bed. It went from being that bag, and as technology got better, before they became smartphones, they were just little, maybe about a third of the size. If we cut this back, and a little thicker. AT&T was one of the ones to come up with that. Nextel was a little thicker because they had the radio device inside it as well. But point being, it was all about being small. Now I think it's about being thin. I've got monitors that are maybe 1.5 inches thick. I've got a laptop, when it's folded, it's maybe 1 inch thick. That desktop over there is an entire computer, powerful computer. It's a Mac. It's old, so it's not as powerful anymore. But it's not the box that we used to be. And even the box, my fancy thinking box right here, the custom one that puts me on the air every day, has plenty of room inside of it. Like, you could probably put another computer in there. And why is that? Because Steve Jobs mastered the topic, the message, and the delivery. Kamala Harris mastered the topic. I think Joe Biden mastered it even better. Because what happened earlier in the campaign when he was still the nominee, or even just the candidate, rubber stamping the primaries, he was spitting out stats left and right. things the American people should have been listening to. But he was told that's too much. They don't want to hear that. And that was probably actually good advice. That's probably actually accurate. So Kamala Harris ran with that, but never gave a message and had poor delivery as a result. And that's the difficult part to say, because I don't think she had poor delivery. She just, compared to Trump, who lied through his teeth, she had poor delivery. She wasn't on Joe Rogan. She did go on Howard Stern. And that's, I think, part of the issue with being on a platform like Sirius, where somebody like him is limited to only Sirius people. It's still great numbers. But when Joe Rogan, who's no longer on just Spotify, to my understanding, and maybe I'm wrong, but it's my understanding that his podcast is no longer just on Spotify. And I think that's a good move for Spotify, actually. You associate Joe Rogan with Spotify. So what they're paying for in a salary is still mastering the message and the delivery, because you still see that little green dot wherever you see Joe Rogan, regardless of where it's at. And now we're stuck with him. Back to the gentleman from India. He said that the far-right conservative populist candidates are fighting the media. And they're using things like YouTube and other platforms to get their message out, especially to younger audiences, the people who are more YouTube and overall tech savvy. That's why we're on TikTok. I want to know what the kids today are thinking. And we get good feedback there. There was another feedback, speaking of which. We got some fan mail, and it miraculously disappeared after I told him it was going to be a part of today's show. But I keep falling for hot guys with hot bodies. Again, here, this one didn't show his face, so I don't no idea what he actually looks like facially. But when he admitted to being a Republican and that all liberals were stupid and blah, 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 whatever else, I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm not going to waste my time with this dude. But I will talk about you on today's episode at 11. Tune in. All of a sudden, his stuff started disappearing. But master the topic, the message, and the delivery. Steve Jobs was amazing at that. Elon Musk is not. Elon Musk takes away the blue verification check marks from people who challenge him. Then Elon Musk turns around and talks about supporting free speech. What? Are you sure? You know what free speech is. And now Europe is worried because he's floating around Europe courting some of the far-right candidates there. So Europe, and I'll have to say this again tomorrow when we're live on the UG.media on the XL channel. Pay attention to the poo-poo sandwich that is the United States under the Trump administration, because you're next. Unless you step up and kick out Musk and all of the people who are nothing more than puppets. Donald Trump ain't the president. Who are you kidding? Elon Musk is. I need to start watching Saturday Night Live just to see what they do to him. because it'll be much deserved. I've got to take a break. When we come back, we've got the Pierre's pot and some updates on what Trumpety Dump has been up to in the past couple of days. Canada, Greenland, and the Panama Canal. Oy. 99.1 WDJY, America One Radio, Ergs Radio, Rainbow Radio, and the rest of the Mastiff Media Network. We'll be back after these words. Hey, gang, it's Ergs. Do you have a podcast? Of course you do. It's probably one of the reasons why you listen to us. Well, I got something for you. Flowsend.ai. All you do is take your pre-recorded data, click, drag, and drop right into the inbox for Flowsend AI. Click a button, and out comes everything that you're going to need. From the transcript to content, such as keywords, titles for your episode, the timeline, posts for LinkedIn, posts for Twitter, Instagram, other smaller platforms, all the things that it takes you hours to do in literally minutes. So go to flowsend.ai. Tell them Jurg sent you and get your subscription today. Worth every penny. Flowsend.ai. Friday Fights. Hey gang, it's Jurgs. Every Friday at Up the Middle, we add co-host Matt Deemer, a Democrat from Ohio and host of Daily Crypto News, and co-host Blake Fisher, a Republican from Oklahoma and host of The Homeless Conservative. Join us as we slug it out over Trump, MAGA, and wokeness during Friday's Up the Middle Friday Fights. Politics for the rest of us. 8 a.m. For those of you that were on after the K-Shop ad, I had a like thing. It's an automated thing that I play, but every time you play a video, it mutes your mic, so the video people didn't hear me say anything. For those on audio only, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, tell your friends about it. Shout out to somebody in my neighborhood here in rural Tampa, Peter, who's listening today. A neighbor of mine gave him our info, and he's either watching but he said he's going to be here today. So, and he's, pretty decent guy, pretty squared away, and a fan of politics. So there's that. Also looking at our map for Jurg's Radio, we got somebody in what looks like suburban Wichita, Kansas. Let's see if I can increase it's outside of Wichita to like the west. Let me see what actual area that is. Just north of US 54 and 400 in like the Cheney Reservoir area. According to the bubble, it's actually in the Cheney Reservoir. Hopefully you're on a boat or ice skating. If the Cheney State Park and the reservoir that it surrounds is snowed over, as I suspect it is, if it's anything like it is here. And I see, let me expand back out. Shout out to Dallas, Shreveport, Louisiana, checking in, Jacksonville, Florida, a bunch of others in Orlando and Kissimmee, Tampa, Miami. Let's go up the coast here, see who's listening. Jacksonville. Is that North Carolina? Let me see what their borders are here. Yeah, Jacksonville, North Carolina. That was Jacksonville, Florida a second ago. Jacksonville, North Carolina. Hello to you. Thanks for joining. These are all people on Jurg's Radio, by the way. If you're in the car, if you're mobile, You can go to Yergz, YERGZ.com. We're live there and everywhere else on the Mastiff Media Network every day at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific. We are now 3 days a week on KSHP. Starting Monday, we will be on for the first time on Mondays. We were on yesterday. Really good show yesterday with Philip Blackett. Philip is our resident Trump translator and Harvard educated, 6 books. And that's why I point out that he's an actual author. Dude didn't just write a book and say, I'm an author and, kiss my butt at the cocktail parties because I'm an author. Yeah, no. Dude actually researches stuff. I say philosopher because he really has a lot of thought behind it too. Philly, Long Island somewhere, Brentwood, Danbury, Connecticut. Shit. There goes my screen again. I've really got to figure out what's going on. Let's see who's out west. Is that, wait a minute. There is a town in Mexico that I had driven to a bunch of years ago when I was looking at buying this one ship. It wasn't even a yacht. It was a ship. And I don't remember if it was Ensenada or the other one that I just saw, and I don't see it anymore. Rosarito. No, I think it was Ensenada. Yeah, I think I drove down to Ensenada, and believe me, that was a scary. Oh, wow. But I thought I saw there's a bubble that was in Mexico. I was wondering if somebody was watching from PV, Puerto Vallarta. I don't even know where that is. I just know all the gays go there. I think it's on the Pacific coast. Maybe it's in the Gulf of California. I just saw a bubble there. It disappeared. There was somebody in Mexico I was going to shout out to, but they're gone. LA, San Francisco, and Seattle. Hello, Seattle. I'm listening. Let me know if you get the reference. And they can actually, there's an interactive thing I've got to do better at using that is on the Yergz radio website. It's not connected to the video. And I wish I could connect it all somehow. Like all the chat that Restream absorbs and collects, plus that from other applications that we're on individually, Discord, Chatter, Instagram, which I don't think, because I get people saying so-and-so join. Aaron Arnwine, Radu, DNR, I wonder if that's Derek and Romaine. Wow. Shout out to that, because that's a network I'm supposed to be joining. I was supposed to be hearing from them this week. I don't know if that's DNR. I don't know what the it says DNR MLLM83. The Little Pappy Artist and Little Gay Chris, all from Instagram. Daniel JBR, Ashley _ Rockstar Train Wreck. Nice. And this is a cool one. Let's Get Thickening. Let's _ get _ thickening THICCENING. I like that. I wish I could. When I have the live video on Instagram, I can't get out of the pop-up screen that is a live video because I'd like to search these people and message them while we're still live. Say, hey, come back. I'll give you a shout out. I just gave you a shout out. So, Pierre's Pot is a thing we do. We haven't been doing it every day. I've been kind of limiting it to the 3 days where I'm either pseudo alone, like I am for part of the show on Mondays, or Tuesday and Thursday. But I think we might be moving both of those to like the beginning and letting everybody, I don't know. We're getting a lot of views on Wednesday and Thursday. People are liking Philip Blackett. I do too. People are liking Friday Fights, which is tomorrow. I do too. And, we don't hate each other. Don't think that we do. We don't at all. In fact, Matt gave us a reminder for some topics to talk about tomorrow. Here is what we're going to talk about. Yeah, Jeff Behar. Wouldn't let me bring him his profile back up. I tried to search it. I think I was able to search it, but Jeff Behar was trying to attack me on my page, on the Ross Yerger page, and he's far right and thinks everybody should be far right. And I'm just like, wow, okay, you go. I think I might, I don't know. Well, oh my God, that's his face. Oh, dude, continue to show just your body because your body's amazing. But when the stork dropped you off, you hit the ugly tree, my friend. And I don't sugarcoat about that. You did. Yeah, I'm a good looking guy. I know it. Yeah. Oh, well. But yeah, leave it with just the body. You'll do well. Ugh. Like, I mean, grow the mustache because at least you hide some of your face. But get a wig. Hide that chrome dome. Ugh. But back to I don't know what content ain't available right now. Back to our chat. We have a Facebook group for us on Fridays. And God, I hate this Meta dashboard. Such a pain in the ass. Messenger, I've got more than 2 messages. Ugh. I do need to actually message this guy. This is a guy from Nashville. All right, just get that out there quick. Yeah, I'm trying to find the list of stuff that Matt contributed earlier today. Great topics. I know one was the fires in the fires in where's all this stuff at now? I hate this. I just want to go back to being on Facebook. That's it. Can I just go to Facebook? Such a pain in the ass. This business suite sucks. Maybe if you'd stop worrying about fact checkers and start worrying about your own application, your own platform, Facebook wouldn't be the poo-poo sandwich that it is. Zuck. Just want to go to my profile so I can go to Facebook Messenger. There we go. Up the middle. Oh, it's Glenn Jackson. He's moving too fast. Okay. So Matt suggested, and we'll definitely talk about these for tomorrow, Greenland, Panama, and Canada. Yeah. I mean, how can we not be talking about that? Like, who does he think he is? Donnie, who do you think you are? Greenland is not ours. It belongs to Denmark, a sovereign country. Just because you're mightier as the president, as we as a country, you are not. Let's be clear, to use the buzz phrase that all politicians are using today. Let's be clear, Donnie. You are not mightier than Denmark. But just because we as a nation might be, doesn't mean you just go taking something. Haven't we outgrown that in society, in civilization? In Canada. Yeah, so Justin Trudeau was having some issues, and now he's the victim of those issues. That he resigned earlier this week. Oh, there's the video again. Oh, but you don't go calling a sitting prime minister a governor. That's nothing against governors, but it is still a step down. When you lead a country like ours, one that should be able to take Denmark, all of Denmark, not just Greenland, or all of Panama, not just the canal. You don't do that. That is why you're in a position like that. Because you have extra power that you have the integrity to not use. That's what leadership is about. One of the things that leadership is about. Something you, Donnie, will never know. Donnie Dorco. Oh, that's got to be a AI thing I got to do. Yeah, we'll have to work on that too. But yeah, so tomorrow, the guys and I are going to talk about Greenland, Panama, and Canada, the fires, and how Gavin Newsom and Mayor Karen Bass are handling them out in LA. One of which was not too far from where I used to live. I thought it was a lot closer. It turns out it's not. Grateful for my former neighbors who are still safe. But I mean, there's nobody is really guaranteed safety there with the way the winds are blowing. And that's something that has to be realized and accepted so that everybody stays out of the way. I mean, it's really, I guess, the easiest way to say it. Stay out of the way. I mean, it's kind of a crazy thing to say, but that's really what it comes down to when you have to evacuate. You're doing that for your own preservation, but also to get out of the way of the people that are dealing with it. But morning motivation, now Pierre's pot. Pierre Robert is a disc jockey in Philadelphia. Definitely an inspiration and mentor to me. He has been there since 1981 and does a thing where when he talks about a listener or a good citizen, as he calls them, he does a toast of the morning sauce, as we're about to do, in their direction, meaning to them. And for me today, it's Austin from Phoenix Pest Control, who was supposed to come back today. I've canceled them because, I mean, why? I think any roach that comes by now, I'm going to see because they have no walls to hide in. Quick view of the construction site that is my home. And frankly, with having not received anything from an insurance company yet, well, I mean, aside from the initial, having not received anything from the insurance company yet, I'm putting that money in myself. So, attorneys out there, we are talking to attorneys and public adjusters to help me fight my insurance company and get them off their ass. And maybe you will be the recipient of Pierre's Pot and receive a toast of the morning sauce in your direction. Today's mug, I'm not the stepdad. I'm the dad that stepped up. Shout out to my son, Zach. And a shout out to Austin, who would have come today and who reminded me of today's appointment and reminded me to cancel through the office so that he did not have to come unnecessarily. Good luck with everything, Austin. Thanks for what you're doing, and we'll see you in the spring. Today's Pierre's Pot is the toast of the morning sauce in your direction. All right, and the time we got left, which ain't a lot, I've got some. I think Ken wrote us again. We got some. There he is. Speak of the devil. Let's get rid of the pot of coffee, of course. I don't know what that flowered thing is there. I don't know what you're talking about. But Ken said, yeah, I saw a video of semi-trucks flipped on its sides in California. I would only estimate that it's because they couldn't see from smoke. I don't know what video you're talking about. I haven't seen that yet. I've just seen aerial photo of the devastation. That, I mean, God love that state. I've lived there for 7 years, 4 years in San Francisco before moving to DC for 11 and a half. And then from DC back out to the West Coast for 3 years in LA. And I lived there during the 19, I think was the Woolsey, whatever they were called, the Woolsey fires, I think, which were pretty devastating. Let's see if I can. Yeah, there we go. Is that what it was? Yep. Woolsey fire was in. Oh, no, that was before I got there. Was ignited November 8th, 2018. Contained November 21st, 2018. And I did not get there till December, late December, right before Christmas. So that was not the one. But there was something while I was there, because that was the one where like Canada was getting the smoke as far east as like Toronto. So yeah, I just remember seeing so much of that, and that was crazy. I don't know what Ken, if you got any update on or additional info. I don't know what semi trucks flipped on their sides, but so much of the highways are on hills, where because they go through and then around the city of LA, there are some pretty wicked turns on the highways. So I wouldn't doubt that, probably speed was a factor. And perhaps if it was smoke or something like that, visibility. I know the 405 out on the coast, can get in and out of mountains with some occasional limited visibility far ahead of you. So updates. We're on KSHP now 3 times a week. We begin next week. I don't think it's going to be tomorrow. Actually, I got to message that general manager today too. But we're starting with, I got to look at the keyboard still. WZQR is a small station down in Pineland, Florida. on Pine Island, Florida, that is also on the internet. In fact, their bigger presence is on the internet. They actually have 7 internet stations that are on their internet channels, one of which is Talk, and that's where we will be. We will also, if I understand our agreement correctly, we will also be on their AM/FM station, which is small in the Pineland area, but still that they market their web pages and their web channels. That's the bigger thing anyway. And that's really why I like being on some of these terrestrial stations, because they do some marketing for us. But even many of their listeners are online. And that's a little better because it's a little more accurate. It's more accurately tracked, more immediately tracked. I mean, I'm still waiting for what I did with 99.1 WDJY from the summer till it's calculated, until they actually receive the Nielsen ratings. I'm still waiting on what they're doing from the summer. So, see what's happening. Go back to speaking of. Yeah, we still got some of those other areas on Jurg's radio listening. And so tomorrow, Friday Fights, tune in here. Check out mastiff.media for any of the best ways to watch or listen, or just go to our Facebook page. Ross Jurg's Jurger is one of them, and just click on the player and you can watch there, or Jurg's, YERGZ radio.com. That's it, gang. I'm going to wrap up, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Thanks for everything, and thanks for running with us up the middle and with the big dogs from Mastiff Media. I think I screwed it up. I don't know if that's how I say it, but anyway, we'll see you tomorrow, gang. Overlay, video clips. There it is. It's a video or song to play out. All right. See you tomorrow.
The average radio listener listens for 18 minutes. Mm-hmm. The average
Jurg's
fan listens for, are you ready for this? An hour and 20 minutes.
How can that be?
Answer most commonly given. I want to see what he'll say next.
All right, okay, fine. But what about the people who hate Jurg's?
Good point. The average hater listens for 2.5 hours a day.
Look, but if they hate him, why do they listen?
Most common.
You've changed. You know this?
Yes, I suppose I have. How about this? Peace, love, dope.